Well, good morning, Impact. How are we doing? This is my second time speaking at IMA. The first time was day one. I put everyone through a workout. So now it's day two. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to put you guys through a workout today. If you guys want, we can run on the beach after, but what an amazing event, and what an amazing organization. And the reason why I say that is because as internet marketers, as marketers, we always hear the word content. We're content creators. But I like to use the word context. See, Joe DeMike spoke about this yesterday about micro moments. And that's what I get here at the IMA, right? You use words and culture. John Sticks and I had a great conversation on the boat. And you hear things like culture, and immediately your brain goes to whatever is programmed about that word. But then as you talk to people, as you have these micro moments in this beautiful landscape, you stretch your context, your understanding. You use words that neurologically stretch your meanings and beliefs and forge new experiences. And so for me, as a personal trainer, it was the same identical situation. I thought I was in the personal training business. I'm not. I'm in the empowerment business. And my company now, First Step Fitness, empowers people one step further. Right? So what we do here is training. That's the platform that we use. And now I'd like to announce something. It's very rough, right? I don't have a slide to present, right? And I'm also still, I secured the web properties, the domains, but this is the impact that the IMA and more notably Sanan has had on me. I was setting up his home gym, getting him buff, like he's got to look good in those suits, right? And so I'm setting up his home gym, and I was putting him through a workout, like taking a look at his nutrition plan. He's hyper-focused, takes the time out to sharpen his sword, so to speak. And I'm sitting there in his home office, and I said, tell me the journey about the IMA. And he starts telling me about empowering the network, the world's greatest network. And so I look it up real quick on my phone, and I said, how come fitness doesn't have a marketing association? I go, there's real estate, there's the American Marketing Association, there's the IMA, right? Every company or industry should have their own marketing association. And he goes, well, why don't you start it? And why don't we help? I said, you do that? And he goes, yeah. That's what we do. I'm like, okay, awesome, right? So I'll be creating later on this year the Fitness Marketing Association, and my First Step Fitness is our consumer-facing brand, if you will. It's how we help companies and clients. But the FMA is really structured around empowering trainers because they have this belief that they're trainers first, and they're not. As John alluded to, they're marketers first. And what it means to be a marketer is to be a storyteller. So it doesn't mean that their capacity, professional capacity as a trainer, has to diminish because they're marketers. But they have to, in this day and age, be storytellers. They have to be messengers. They have to be inspirers and empowerers of hope, because if they're not going to be in business much longer. They're going to be a commodity. If you are a marketer first, then no matter how big or small your niche, you can be a category of one. And that's when you really start to change people's minds, bodies, spirits, souls. So just to give you an idea, I spoke at IMA in September in Vegas, and I did a presentation on wearable tech. And really what wearable tech is a way to track calories, steps, any metric, but what it is just a platform to turn people into everyday athletes. Right? So we know the big players in this space, the Apple, the Fitbit, and the Garmin. I'm here to talk about the new kids on the block. I'm here to talk about the guys that are really making a buzz and taking it that next step. And I spoke last time, and I had the privilege of speaking right after the executive vice president of the San Francisco Giants. And I said, man, he let me put on the ring backstage. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, this is a World Series ring. This is a once-in-a-lifetime. I guess IMA is once-in-a-lifetime experiences. I saw, Iron Man in the water last night. Text my son, and he's like, Daddy, look, it's a superhero. I was like, so I'm a hero now for doing that. But so I was talking to the Giants, and I said, there's going to come a time when companies must evolve to treating their employees or their team like professional sports franchises treat their players. They have to know the metrics about their body, their mind, their spirit. They have to track all these things in real time. Apple and Fitbit is just the first. I mean, it's great that we're starting a revolution of tracking, but walking 1,000 steps a day only tells me as a professional a limited capacity to help you guys or trainers in general. So my new partner, Training Slate, they're a company out of Silicon Valley, and you see them working out here, Athos and MyZone as well. But Training Slate is great because what it does is it bridges the gap between all of the modalities of wellness. So your PT, your chiro, your doctor, your nutritionist, your personal trainer, all of those guys land on their platform and they can interact. See, the problem that happens with fitness, and I don't know if you guys experience this as well, but you go to a doctor and he says, don't work out. I don't want you to lift weights. I just want you to walk or do cardio or whatever. And then the trainer goes, well, that's bad advice, you know? And all of it is just a miscommunication. So what Training Slate has done now is they've integrated all of these people so your team plays nice, right? They play on your team. It's not about serving their needs, it's about serving yours, right? And so Athos and Apple and Fitbit, these are just basically wearable techs that connect to this platform. So Athos is a great partner of ours, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Athos, the super suit, but it's great because it's Under Armour meets electromyography sensors. So now I'm working out with my compression shirt, and I go to do a push-up or a bench press, and it tells me in real time the order in which my muscles fired, right? The probability of if I have a muscular imbalance or if I need to do some more stretching or mobility work, or it tells me the type of muscle fire that's firing. So I know for our clients, and if we're doing endurance or if we're doing strength, right? All in real time to your iPhone, right? And so now consumers are going to have this ability. It started out with athletes, but what we do at First Step Fitness is try to bridge that gap. There's so much great technology out there, and people have to stretch their context before they take in more content. And they have to have an understanding of what athletes and what entrepreneurship, because they're two sides of the same coin, what those things really are. And it's not a members-only club that only the rich or only the fit can be in. It's something that everyone can enjoy and everyone should enjoy. And as John alluded to earlier, if you're not on this revolution, then as companies, we're going to get left behind because people don't want to go to work anymore. They don't want a job, they want a purpose. They don't want to be a wage earner, they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to be an intrapreneur. And so if you can provide as a platform for somebody to take those entrepreneurial experiences, cultures, time, talents, and give them, not everybody's meant to start their own business. Not everyone's meant to go IPO and take a company public. But we still have these passion, purpose, all of these indoctrinated beliefs, because that's what it's meant as Americans. That's what our society was built on, and the Caymans as well. That's why my first time to Cayman, and when I heard people speak yesterday, I love that quote where it's, let government legislate and let companies innovate. And I believe that to my soul because it's just the way that progress happens. So this is an example of smart cap technology. This actually premiered in the World Cup. Last World Cup, the German national team, I saw a picture of this. So the coach is sitting there on the sidelines, and or the physio, whatever you want to call it, he's got an iPad. And on his iPad, he's got every single player on the field hooked up to sensors in their jerseys, and then there's sensors in the water bottle. So I know if I have a $40 million player like Ozil or I don't know the other, Klose, like a couple of good German soccer players, they obviously won the World Cup, right? I know if they're deficient in what nutrients. So in real time, I get right to my iPad, I say, okay, number 6 needs some more vitamin D, some magnesium, some protein, because he's been playing 45 minutes, and he looks like he's starting to falter, right? So throw-in comes, real quick timeout, shake it up, here you go, right? And no one knows the wiser. But we're getting to that point. This is where consumers, or regular people, if you will, can actually start to track their wellness in real time, their nutrition. And would you guys all agree that nutrition is the hardest part of the wellness equation? I hear that all the time. Oh, it's all about your diet. You're right. You're never going to train your way out of a bad diet, right? But we consume more food or take in more calories, but we're starving at a molecular level. So now we have real intelligence that will help people. You know, you're sitting in the office. Let's give you an example. You're sitting in the office, and your body we're all living organisms, right? We're meant to be out in the sunlight in beautiful Cayman, right? So if we're sitting under those fluorescent lights and we haven't eaten breakfast, maybe we had a coffee and a bagel, and we have the calories we need, but we don't have the nutrition to energize ourselves, to give our body nutrition. So we're sitting under those fluorescent lights, and all of a sudden, our productivity wanes. We start to feel sluggish. We start to feel fatigued. Productivity goes down. Wouldn't it be great to have a bottle that says, hey, Mike, here's some vitamin D, here's some zinc, right? Go take a 5-minute break out in the sun, recharge your body, and get back in there, and let's kick some butt, right? And so that's where we're going. We're treating companies that we work with like business athletes. We're making sure that they have the integrated approach, not the isolated approach. Fitness is no longer about reps and sets and how many calories did I burn. It's taking fitness and understanding the kinesthetic intelligence that we get from fitness, how our body works, how our body was designed, neurologically, physiologically, right? And then applying that to the sport of business. It's the same way. I heard a statistic, there's something like 2/3 of all management level employees, entrepreneurs, would say that their experience or their success is attributed to an experience playing sports or some group activity as a young kid. So that experience of playing team sports or personal sports, that personal perseverance of overcoming obstacles and learning about yourself and all of those things, they teach us so much more than a classroom can teach us. We need both. But in schools, especially in American schools, what we see is that we spend too much time on one type of intelligence. I don't know if you guys know this. A great book to read is Howard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences. There's 7 different types of intelligence. And as educators, we focus on the primary 2, visual and auditory and linguistic, right? So reading, writing, and arithmetic. What about musical? What about spatial? What about kinesthetic? Right? These things are really our emotional intelligence. And our emotional intelligence, if you guys know about IQ versus EQ, that's really a predictor of success. When you talk about hiring talent, I want a high EQ. I'm a C student, right? Like, I told my dad, I will work my hardest to get a 3.0 so you continue to pay my rent as a college student and my car insurance. But I'm a Chapman University alumni. That's how Sanan and I initially met. And I told my dad, I love school, but I don't want to pursue a graduate degree at this time. I want to go and be an entrepreneur. Right? I love learning, but I didn't like going to school. And I had to stretch my context because I thought you have to be educated. You have to have, as trainers, we're all taught this. And that's my personal mission. One of them is to teach trainers that you don't have to have 200 letters behind your name, CSCS, CPT, CEO, right? You just have to understand what your mission is, what your message is, right? And then you also have to understand what's your core competency, what's your intelligence, what intelligence do you need to take it to the next level? Because you could have a whole lot of education and be limited on your intelligence, and you're still not going to go as far as you'd like. So this was an interesting statistic. I spoke at a fitness marketing conference about a month ago, and somebody passed this article. Best industries to start a business right now, corporate wellness. The secret's out. It's a $10.5 billion trend in the next 5 years. I spoke at IMA in October, and the only thing growing faster than that was wearable technology. Biometric scanning software, wearable technology, that's a subset, right? Corporate wellness will surpass that. And here's why. Because I believe that we're one step away, that one step further, from really helping companies define why they should implement wellness programs. Why and the who. Because when you send out, let's say, emails, all of us, the corporate wellness strategy right now is pretty simple. We have a 3% adoption rate when we take on most companies. When they start, they have a 3% adoption rate of wellness programs because this is what they do. And stop me if I'm wrong. We'll reimburse you the $24 or $27 if you go to the gym. And that'll lower our healthcare costs. That'll give us some employee tax rebates or whatever. But it's not a system that really integrates or using corporate culture like John spoke to. It should be a tool. It should be in your arsenal. It should be a function of your culture to have this thing called wellness, but we have to understand what wellness is. And one way that we do that at First Step Fitness is through gamification. Because people don't necessarily like to work out, but they love to compete. And I'll be the first one to admit, I don't really like to work out sometimes, right? But I love to compete. So if I'm not feeling so good and one of my colleagues or one of my partners or one of my friends says, hey, Mike, like, let's go, me and you. I'll race you up the stairs. Okay. You forget where you're at. And so what we do with gamification is we use digital technology. We use MyZone, which is a digital tracking software. We use Fitbit, right? And we use these platforms like Training Slate that I talked about. And we help make fitness fun. We help people compete. And what that does when you compete, it starts to open up innovation. It starts to open up team building. That's the basis of competition, friendly competition. We make people intrapreneurs. We help people define within an organization or on their own what their passion, purpose, and really their productivity center is. Because if you look up the definition of entrepreneur in the dictionary, it's an employer of productivity and passion, period. I mean, there's all these other meanings about, I think an entrepreneur has to be someone that goes on Shark Tank or they have to have a multi-million-dollar business. And so employees never think that that's relevant to them and never think that's part of their identity because they don't identify with it. Same thing as being an athlete. Most people don't think, oh, I didn't play a sport. I'm not super fit, so I wouldn't identify with myself as an athlete. So we're on a mission to stretch that context and say, if you have a body, you're an athlete. That's a great quote from a guy named Bill Bowerman. He co-founded a little company called Nike, right? So he trained at Beaverton, Oregon, and he said, if you have a body, you're an athlete. I said, if you have a purpose, you're an entrepreneur. Because you don't have to necessarily monetize that business, but if you're doing like what John's doing, which I think is great, I wish I would have met you earlier so that I could put you as in my slide as like a company culture icon, someone to really look for. Yes, but that's great. I mean, that's an example of fostering innovation, right? Of really helping people reach their true potential. As a fitness trainer and as a fitness entrepreneur, I study the body to really understand the mind. You got to have both sides of the same coin. So they really are integrated. You can think happy thoughts. You can do all these different things, but physiologically, if you're creating hormones like cortisol, right, which is a stress inhibitor, right, and it starts to create the hormones related to fat storage. It starts to shut down the metabolism. Starts to shut down vital organs. This is the company culture that we're trying to recreate. These 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 or whatever. Like John was right. Somewhere in the Industrial Revolution, we came up with a 12-hour work week, and then we shortened it to 8. And we never really asked ourselves, is there a better way? And now what we're seeing with digital technology, with the internet, is that you can work anywhere on any timeline, and you can create really your own model for success, and the company can just be something that nurtures that step along. We talked about the wellness paradigm shift, and I alluded to it earlier. Something like 61% of people are starving on a molecular level. So we're talking about all of our food marketing is so elusive in our wellness space because I can take a 2-pound bag of sugar and I can market fat-free. Knowing that that's an incredibly misleading outcome because once I take that sugar in, I know that my body's just going to store it as fat, right? So fat-free, sugar-free, all these different marketing terms that are incredibly misleading. So where's the authenticity in that? Where's the marketing authority, essentially, that will help educate consumers about whole food nutrition? I'm a huge advocate of supplementation, whole food nutrition. Diets work, but you have to have somewhere to go from a diet. It's a very good tool to do cleanses, to do supplements. I get asked this question a lot, and I'm a big proponent of that. But eventually, it's about eating the food that nature and God intended us to eat. It's what really vitalizes our body and cells so that we have the energy to do whatever mission or purpose or sport or business that we're meant to do. right? Second step is from information content to really getting educated and then gaining intelligence. Intelligence is information with clarity, purpose, and direction. That's all intelligence is. So taking consumers and really making them investors on every level in the market, really educating consumers about their fitness needs, not just having them buy the next 8-minute abs and then 7-minute abs and then 6-minute abs, but telling them and showing them and doing educational-based marketing, which is what we do at First Step Fitness and in the future at the Fitness Marketing Association, education-based marketing to teach them how fitness can be simple, how it can be fun, how it can be personalized so that you don't have to go to the gym and the experience. I always look at the gym. I design gyms. And it's funny, the gym is just like the supermarket. Right? All the treadmills, the big box gyms, all the treadmills are on the perimeter. Right? So it's no wonder that 90% of the time we're doing cardiovascular activity when strength training, endurance training, core and stability training, balance training, all the cool little tricks and all the cool equipment in the middle of the gym, it's like it's ruled by the bodybuilders and all those guys. It's like a watering hole that just like attracts like all the big scary people and you want to sit on the perimeter, right? And the same thing when you walk into a supermarket. All of the good processed foods on the perimeter, we want to get to the whole food nutrition. We want to get to the place where we can use fitness and nutrition to teach companies how to treat their employees like professional level athletes, because they're business level athletes. And to stop giving us false hope that busy means productive. Busy doesn't mean productive. You could have, I don't know if you guys ever read The 4-Hour Work Week. Has everyone ever read The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss? Oh, I love that book, yeah. A great title. It's the 24/7, 365 work week for me. It doesn't feel like work, but busy versus productive. You could get a 4-hour work week in, but as an entrepreneur, I mean, we're working right now. We're constantly innovating. We're coming up. We're getting little ideas. We're having side conversations. We're having these micro moments. And then we're going back to our team, communicating via social media or mobile devices and saying, I got the aha moment. I got the golden nugget. I got the piece of the puzzle at IMA. That's what I did last time for the FMA. I got the piece of the puzzle at the IMA that's going to make this engine work. Talk to my buddy Sinan, John, Joe. I got that one little nugget that's going to make the one missing link. And that's what we get here. That's why it's always good to take time out to come to this beautiful venue and to really understand what business we're in. Right now, you guys, we're all participating like athletes. It's not a marathon. It's a marathon of sprints. You have to go hard and then recover. Your body's ability on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, your results are tied into your ability to recover. Mind, body, and spirit, and soul. I believe that. Empowering people one step further. I spoke about this. Right now in companies that we work with companies 1 to 500 employees. That's our sweet spot. And financial services, law firms, real estate, loan officers, things like that. I call them entrepreneurial companies. I hope that all companies can be entrepreneurial because it's based on performance. And if you look at performance, it's the best way to measure or judge a company, right? The whole performance dashboard. Revenues, culture, happiness metrics, physical, mental, emotional stress relief. And so we have to get to a point where we turn wage earners into entrepreneurs or shareholders. That's really where the seeds of culture get planted. Because if you're a wage earner, there's no upside to saying, hey, I'm going to implement this wellness program, so we're all going to do yoga 3 times a week, and then we're going to meet with a nutritionist twice a month, and then we're going to do an intense workout in the parking lot 3 times a week. Why? 9 to 5, I'm in, I'm out, I'm done. There's no really upside for me. It's not, they don't need to get paid more. They don't need to work any harder. What they need to do is shift their context. They need to reframe it in their brain, and that's using marketing, if you will, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, reframing words so we stretch people's context. So as a wage earner, it screams to me like there's no hope. Like I hit a ceiling of potential, right? And for most people that don't have the ability to let's say, go to the fanciest schools or whatever. They think that's the key to success. It's not, right? That's a great tool, but what an empowering feature to have a company that doesn't refer to you as a wage earner, but that it refers to you as a shareholder, as an entrepreneur, as a critical cornerstone to success. Even if that person just answers the phone. We do that at First Step Fitness. We call our secretary the ambassador or director of first impressions. You are vital to our ecosystem here, right? And if you don't come to work every single day and really have your dashboard ready, that I eat my breakfast, that I do my breathing, that I write in my gratitude journal, however you track these things, then our company is one step weakened. You know, we need you to be at your best. And we need companies to turn wage earners, shift those words, and shareholders. And then healthcare. Healthcare is failing. It's a $60 trillion deficit in healthcare. Why? Because healthcare wasn't meant to be preventative. You know, we should be able to track their stuff. That's what wellness is. We can take this onto our own, using data, using digital technology, using all the bells and whistles. We can track this ourselves now in real time. If we use healthcare, costs will continue to go up. If we empower people to track this on their own, so because it's integrated into their core message of who they are, they understand this is a human being, that this is a vital component of becoming the person, the fifth level of self-actualization, right? Maslow's law. Really understanding the reason why you were put on this earth, the purpose. Wellness is a critical component of that. But if we just look at it as healthcare, it sounds so like it's somebody else's problem. Like, let's just pass it off. No, we need to take this right now. We need to empower people to be wellness professionals, to really understand why their wellness plays such a critical role, and that will start to offset or unload a lot of the stress on the healthcare system. 6 out of 7 of the leading causes of death in America are 100% preventable. 6 out of 7. So we have some work to do as a society, and it starts with really the education system, training our children, really understanding the next generation of millennials and, you know, all of these people that are looking at us as a sick nation, and we're not. And we're a very vibrant nation. We're an innovative nation. Cayman as well. I love this island. I've only been here 2 days, right? And because of the way that they embrace you, the warmth, right? But our country is under so much scrutiny right now, and we're looked at the rest of the world as just a sick nation, and we don't have to be. We can take that, and we can empower our people and take that wellness back. We can go to work every single day. Our companies, our economic system will change if our companies start to innovate, if we really start to embrace this new culture of wellness, of culture, of digital technology. And then turning people into everyday athletes. What's the difference between an active person and an athlete? 2 things: a purpose and definable goals. And that's why I love gamification, because it helps people track in real time their goals and helps them define measurable outcomes. If I just go and take a walk on the beach, that's activity. I tell my clients and all of our partners, be as active as you want. But if you really want to train, you have to become an athlete. So you have to monitor, just like a great business would. You have to keep a good set of clean books, right? If you're gonna be poised for growth. And then you have to have a mission and a purpose. So if it's just about the results outcome, I want to lose weight, or I want to get a six-pack, or I want to fit in this bikini, those things are great. I want all my clients to have those as well. But I want to watch my daughter walk down the aisle. I want to play with my son or my grandkids, or I want to be a coach for Little League, right? Those things, when you're 20 reps into a squat set, or, you know, jumping out into a workout after a hard day or a layover, those are the things that are going to get you excited. Not, oh man, I really want to fit into this nice suit because I got a presentation, right? Those things are great, those things come, but it's really a deeper meaning. And so I love the opportunity, like John said, to get up and really speak about these new emerging philosophies, if you will. Speaking has really given me a platform to share this and educate people, and it starts with a conversation. So my contact information is here. I would love to have those conversations. I really appreciate the people that I've had conversations with so far. Victor Cho, I sat next to him on the airplane. What a great honor that was. I see my seat, and I'm like, I'm sitting next to Victor Cho. And he said, when we took over Evite for the first year, we didn't do anything but just look at our customer centricity. We just figured out how we can be better for our customers. And I'm just like, oh man, I got like a page full of notes by the time I landed and came on, right? About going back to my team, and I'm just like, wow, like Victor Cho gave me this insight, Victor Cho gave me this insight, Victor Cho gave me this insight, right? And so I would love to have those experiences in my time left in Cayman, right? And I appreciate John and everyone here, Sinan and everyone here that I've had a chance to speak with, because you truly have given me the context to take this experience and how to make myself, my company, and our partners better. And I hope that you have that same experience. I always end with saying, everybody here is an entrepreneur. You guys all have the ability to impact people. Take that, respect it. It's a responsibility. It's a privilege. It's not a rank, right? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.